Coming up now in your spoiler-free wrestling news rundown, New Japan Pro Wrestling continues to build to Hyper Battle on April 9th, as well as Windy City Riot on April 16th. We've got updates from the Bullet Club vs. Motor City Machine Guns rivalry in Impact Wrestling, and news from elsewhere around the wrestling world. Subscribe to Spoiler-Free Wrestling for all your wrestling news. The pro wrestling world converged in Dallas this weekend, and New Japan Pro Wrestling presented a show on Friday, April 1st, titled Lone Star Shootout. Now, much of what took place on this show is building towards the event on April 16th in Chicago titled Windy City Riot, and one of the matches built up for that event will feature Minoru Suzuki taking on Tomohiro Ishii. Now, we've seen Suzuki and Ishii get into it recently on the New Japan Cup Tour, but unlike other angles that took place on the New Japan Cup Tour, this one is not going to play out in Japan on April 9th at Hyper Battle. This one will take place in the United States in Chicago on April 16th. So Minoru Suzuki was in action at Lone Star Shootout. He defeated Killer Kross, who is making his New Japan Pro Wrestling debut. There was an interesting spot during this match where the two were exchanging chops and Suzuki called Kross a young boy, and the two continued to exchange strikes after that. However, Suzuki would pick up the victory with a Gotch-style pile driver. This was actually one of 5 matches that Minoru Suzuki wrestled over the course of 2 days this weekend. Up on your screen now is Minoru Suzuki's win-loss record from those 5 matches. He started out the weekend losing in the main event of Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 8. And if you haven't checked out any of the previous Bloodsport shows, I think some of you might like them. There are no ropes, and the only way a match can end is when a referee ends it due to a submission or knockout. So Chris Dickinson defeated Minoru Suzuki in the main event of Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 8. However, Suzuki had previously defeated Dickinson at a Bloodsport event, so they're now 1-1 in that promotion. Suzuki also defeated Biff Busick at the WrestleCon March Hitchcock Memorial Show, which was the same day as Bloodsport. Then on April the 1st, Minoru Suzuki defeated Rhett Titus to win the ROH World Television Championship at ROH Supercard of Honor. And as previously mentioned, he defeated Killer Kross at Lone Star Shootout, and also defeated Effie at GCW Joey Janela's Spring Break 6 Part 2. And as for Tomohiro Ishii, he wrestled 3 matches this weekend. He defeated Timothy Thatcher at the WrestleCon March Hitchcock Memorial Super Show. He defeated Eddie Edwards at Impact Wrestling's Multiverse of Matches. Ishii would also wrestle Chris Dickinson in the main event of Lone Star Shootout, and he would pick up the victory. After the match, Minoru Suzuki came out to the stage area. He would challenge Ishii to a singles match, which was later made official for Windy City Riot. There was also a promo segment featuring Jon Moxley at Lone Star Shootout, although he had not been advertised for the event. Moxley came out and cut a promo on his Windy City Riot opponent, Will Ospreay, saying that he was going to kick Ospreay's teeth in and teach him a lesson. So that match will also take place April 16th in Chicago. So looking at the lineup now for Windy City Riot, we have 4 matches that are official. Those are Jon Moxley taking on Will Ospreay. We will see a 10-man tag team match featuring Fred Rosser, Josh Alexander, Alex Coughlin, Ren Narita, and Chris Dickinson, teaming up to take on Team Filthy's Royce Isaacs, Jarrell Nelson, JR Kratos, Black Tiger, and Danny Limelight. We will also see a USFJ Open Challenge featuring Jay White taking on a mystery opponent, and as previously mentioned, we will see Tomohiro Ishii taking on Minoru Suzuki. Before we get to Windy City Riot, however, New Japan Pro Wrestling will present a set of New Japan Strong tapings on April the 10th from the Vermont Hollywood. The show is titled Mutiny, and several matches have been announced, including Ren Narita versus Chris Dickinson, David Finlay versus Blake Christian. In a 2-on-1 handicap match, Fred Rosser will take on Team Filthy's Royce Isaacs and Jarrell Nelson. We will see a USFJ Open Challenge match with Hikuleo answering the challenge to take on Jay White. Now, as we mentioned in a previous video, Hikuleo confronted Jay White about White throwing his brothers out of Bullet Club. This took place at the Strong Style Evolved show in Tampa, Florida. And so now Hikuleo will challenge Jay White at Mutiny on April 10th. Now, during this confrontation between Hikuleo and Jay White called Hikuleo the future of Bullet Club. Well, Hikuleo said he might be the future of Bullet Club, but there's no reason why the future can't be now. So I think we'll find out more about where Hikuleo's allegiances lie when we get this match between Hikuleo and Jay White. But as of right now, the younger brother of Tama Tonga and Tangaloa is still in Bullet Club. Bullet Club appears to want him to stay, but Hikuleo's got a grudge with Jay White. So we'll just see what takes place at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Mutiny on April 10th. Also scheduled for that show, Rocky Romero, Alex Coughlin, and Adrian Quest will team up to go up against JR Kratos, Black Tiger, and Danny Limelight. We'll see Kevin Knight, the DKC, and Fred Yehai team up to take on Bateman, Mysterioso, and Barrett Brown. Tomohiro Ishii will be in action. He'll take on Big Damo. Aaron Solo and Nick Camarado of the Factory will take on Carl Fredericks and Clark Connors. We'll see Alex Zane team up with Christopher Daniels to take on Bullet Club's Chris Bay and El Phantasmo. So El Phantasmo will be back in the United States for April. We'll see how he interacts with Jay White, Chris Bay, and the Good Brothers. We will see Brody King, Taylor Rust, and Mascara Dorada team up to take on the United Empire's Great O'Khan, Aaron Hanare, and TJP. So we will see Great O'Khan and Aaron Hanare. They have traveled to the United States. And we will see Kita Murray, Yuya Uemura team up to take on Kevin Blackwood and Lucas Riley. New Japan Pro Wrestling was back at it for the Hyper Battle Tour. They had their first show since the New Japan Cup Finals on Monday. We will get into what all happens on that tour on Wednesday's video. But it's all leading to Saturday, April 9th's Hyper Battle 2022. And we went through the lineup of that show in a previous video. But let's quickly just run down the matches for Saturday's big event. Again, we will see the Bullet Club against the Gorillas of Destiny as Jado, Tangaloa, Tama Tonga team up with Hiroshi Tanahashi to take on Gato, Yujiro Takahashi, Chase Owens, and Bad Luck Fale. We will see Shingo Takagi team up with Tetsuya Naito to take on Aaron Hanare and Will Ospreay. And we will see the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships on the line as Master Wato and Taguchi will defend against El Phantasmo and Taiji Ishimori. For the KOPW Trophy, Toru Yano will defend against Taichi. For the Never Openweight Championship, Evil will defend against the man who eliminated him from the New Japan Cup, Hiramu Takahashi. For the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto will defend against the Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb. For the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, El Desperado will defend against Sho, and in the main event for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, Kazuchika Okada will defend against the winner of the New Japan Cup, Zack Sabre Jr. It was also a big week for Impact Wrestling's Bullet Club faction of Jay White, Chris Bay, and the Good Brothers. Bullet Club has been feuding with the Motor City Machine Guns in Impact Wrestling as of late, and this goes back to the March 5th Impact Wrestling Sacrifice pay-per-view from Louisville, Kentucky, when Jay White defeated his former trainer, Alex Shelley. Then the following night, at a set of television tapings, the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, defeated Chris Bay and Jay White in tag team action, albeit there was some controversy at the end, as Jay White claimed that he broke up the pin attempt before the referee counted to 3. This then led to another match between Chris Bay and Jay White against the Motor City Machine Guns, which would take place on March 18th when Impact Wrestling presented a series of television tapings from the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia. This match actually aired last week on Thursday's Impact Wrestling on Access TV, and Chris Bay and Jay White were able to avenge their earlier loss and defeated Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin in tag team action. Then at Multiverse of Matches, Chris Sabin picked up a victory over Jay White, handing Jay White his first pinfall loss of his time in Impact Wrestling. It was a cradle roll-up that Sabin scored on Jay White to pick up the pinfall. And so now this rivalry between Bullet Club and the Motor City Machine Guns is tied at 2, with Jay White going 1-1 in singles matches against the Motor City Machine Guns, and Chris Bay and Jay White going 1-1 in tag team matches against the Motor City Machine Guns. There was also a match between Jay White and Chris Sabin, which took place at Strong Style Evolved. However, that match has not aired yet on an episode of New Japan Strong, so we will wait till it does to give you the results of that match. Also, Jay White defeated Speedball Mike Bailey, who answered his USFJ Open Challenge at Lone Star Shootout on Friday. As for Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, the Good Brothers, they had a very important match at Impact's Multiverse of Matches when they took on the Briscoe brothers, Jay and Mark Briscoe. Now, thanks to some outside interference from other members of Bullet Club, they were able to pick up the victory in the Tag Team Dream match. It was actually the second match in the span of a few hours that the Briscoes lost. They dropped the ROH World Tag Team Championships to FTR at ROH Super Card of Honor. Now, after the show, it was revealed by PW Insider that Impact Wrestling does plan on bringing the Briscoe brothers back. They also cut a promo saying that they have unfinished business with Gallows and Anderson. So it looks like we're going to be seeing more between the Good Brothers and the Briscoes. However, Anderson and Gallows are also moving into a rivalry with the Kingdom, the OGK, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, and also Maria. Also, concerning Impact Wrestling news, the longest reigning Knockouts champion of all time, Taya Valkyrie, returned to the promotion at Impact Multiverse of Matches. She came out after Deonna Purrazzo had defeated Fabi Apache, and so Taya Valkyrie challenging Deonna Purrazzo to a match at Rebellion. And of course, Taya Valkyrie, longtime Knockouts champion, but Deonna Purrazzo currently holds the ROH Women's World Championship as well as the AAA Reina de Reinas Championship. And Taya Valkyrie has a very long history with that championship as well. So Taya Valkyrie back in Impact Wrestling. That'll please a lot of people. Also in Impact Wrestling news, two-time X Division champion Ace Austin announced that he has re-signed with the promotion. He's signed a new multi-year agreement with the company. Ring of Honor held its first event with Tony Khan as the company's new owner at Super Card of Honor on April 1st. It was a very newsworthy show. Here are some of the highlights. Several new champions were crowned, including Wheeler Yuta winning the ROH Pure Championship, and one has to wonder if this will please William Regal, as Yuta seems like he's pledging the Blackpool Combat Club as of late. As previously mentioned, the new ROH World Television Champion is Minoru Suzuki. He defeated Rhett Titus on the show. Also, as previously mentioned, FTR are the new ROH World Tag Team Champions. They defeated the Briscoes on the show, and they will defend those titles Wednesday night on Dynamite against the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks made a run-in after this Tag Team Championship match at Super Card of Honor. So that should be interesting as we get the Young Bucks versus FTR 2 on Wednesday. The company crowned a new interim ROH Women's World Champion as Deonna Purrazzo was not able to make it to the event to defend her title. Mercedes Martinez defeated Willow Nightingale, and so now we will very likely get a match between Martinez and Purrazzo at a later date. Also on ROH Super Card of Honor, Tully Blanchard, who was recently fired by FTR, debuted a few new clients on the pre-show. He announced that the tag team The Gates of Agony with Jasper Kahn and Toa Leona are his newest clients. They defeated the Shinobi Shadow Squad team of Cheeseburger and Eli Isom. And then on the main card, Brian Cage, the former member of Team Taz, Brian Cage, who recently had his contract extended by AEW despite not appearing on their programming for many months. Brian Cage looks now to be a regular in Ring of Honor. He was announced as Tully Blanchard's new client in Blanchard Enterprises. He defeated Ninja Mac via pinfall at ROH Super Card of Honor. And of course, in the main event, Jonathan Gresham defeated Bandito to become the undisputed ROH World Champion. But then after the match, former Ring of Honor World Champion Samoa Joe came out, and Samoa Joe would later be announced as being signed by All Elite Wrestling. However, it seems like perhaps he will be wrestling mainly in Ring of Honor, but Samoa Joe is signed to Tony Khan's various wrestling enterprises, his wrestling empire, and perhaps will be challenging for the ROH World Championship very soon. So, a very newsworthy ROH Supercard of Honor. And that'll do it for this video, everyone. We'll release another one on Wednesday. Subscribe to Spoiler Free Wrestling for all your wrestling news.